One of the questions that have been asked the most in the past few weeks has been which is the better variant of the Galaxy S5. So as you probably know, there are two variants, an LTE enabled variant that's powered by the Snapdragon 801 chipset and an Exynos variant that does not have LTE that's powered by the Exynos 5422 chipset. The LTE variant has 4 great 400 cores coupled with an Adreno 330 GPU and 2 gigs of RAM, whereas the non-LTE variant has 8 cores, 4 high-powered Cortex-A15 cores clocked at 1.9 GHz each, 4 low-powered Cortex-A7 cores clocked at 1.3 GHz each, coupled with a Mali T628 MP6 GPU and again 2 gigs of RAM. Physically, both variants are identical. Here we have a black non-LTE Exynos variant and a white LTE variant. So the only difference here being this LTE logo at the back. Again, I guess that differs from region to region. Your LTE enabled Galaxy S5 might not have this. So anyway, barring that, physically they are the same. There are no differences between both whatsoever. So anyway, in this video we're going to be pitting these two against each other and let's see what differences they have. So for the sake of uniformity, both these phones have been factory reset, and we're gonna start with a boot time test. So I'm just gonna reboot both phones and let's see if there is any difference between both these variants in terms of startup time. So keeping up with the tradition on C4E Tech, the iPhone 5C is gonna act as a stopwatch here. I keep saying smartwatch. Alright, so let's have these two restart. And there's going to be a second difference between me hitting the restart button and the start for the stopwatch, but that shouldn't matter. So here goes. So as you guys could see, the Snapdragon variant did boot up a little, about a second before the Exynos variant. So guys, right now what I've done is I've gone ahead and made sure that both phones are charged to 100%. They're both fully charged. I've installed a few benchmarks on the same on both phones. So first off, let's start with the differences before we get to the benchmarks. This phone has a download booster functionality. So going into settings, you can see a download booster which lets you download via both the Wi-Fi as well as LTE network. Since the Exynos variant does not have LTE connectivity, it does not have that option. As far as RAM available goes, alright, let's quickly get in here. So alright, so as you can see, the Exynos variant is utilizing about 200 MB more RAM. So now let's also get into the storage. So both phones have 16 gigs of internal storage, and while the Exynos has about 10.36 GB free, the Snapdragon variant has 10.26, so that's negligible. 0.1 GB, that's about 100 MB that it has lesser. So let's get to the benchmarks. Let's first start with Geekbench 3. While the Snapdragon variant does do a little better in terms of single core performance, when it comes to multi-core performance, the Exynos variant hits right back. So let's quickly clear that from memory. Okay, do not show again. Okay. Alright, so next up, let's move on to quadrant standard. And run a full benchmark. The Snapdragon variant seems to do better when it comes to quadrant standard. An outright win here, but anyway, let's clear that from the memory and now move on to Antutu. So let's hit test and test. While the Snapdragon variant again managed to run the benchmark quicker, in terms of scores, there's not a lot between these two phones here. So once again, clearing this from memory, let's get to the next benchmark on the list, Velamo. So again, the scores are more or less similar, 1420 for the Exynos variant and 1432 for the Snapdragon variant. And I guess we're starting to see a trend here. The Snapdragon variant gets the benchmark done first, but the scores are more or less the same. So anyway, let's go ahead, clear this up, and next we get to Gfx Bench. So first let's start with Manhattan. Okay, here we have a first big difference. The Snapdragon variant managed to handle this test much better than the Exynos variant. Anyway, let's just test it out again, this time with T-Rex. So guys, once again, the Snapdragon variant with T-Rex again has pulled ahead, performs much better. So anyway, closing Gfx Bench here, let's get to 3D Mark. Let's go directly to Ice Storm Unlimited. As you can see, again, the Adreno 330 GPU shows its prowess here, consistently offering higher frame rates than its counterpart, the Mali T628MP6 on the Exynos variant, and that leads to, as expected, a higher score for the Snapdragon variant of the Galaxy S5. While the Exynos variant of the Galaxy S5 is by no means a dud, the Snapdragon 801 variant just is a little better when it comes to synthetic benchmarks. Well, I've spent 2 weeks each with both devices, and with the Exynos variant, which I used to actually review the Galaxy S5 on my channel, I had a few issues like this. It had this awful lag from time to time, even when unlocking the screen, and this is something that I've not faced with the Snapdragon variant. I've had it for 2 weeks without any of these lag issues. Yes, there is a very minor lag which is obviously associated with TouchWiz, but it just feels a lot more predominant on the Exynos variant. So as you can see, the GPU is also a little better with the Snapdragon variant, and both phones ran the same tests. They both had full charge when we started, and the Snapdragon variant just has a little bit more left, 92% compared to 91%. And as far as heating goes, both phones feel a little warm, not really leaning one way or the other here. So another thing I wanted to tell you guys is there are some compatibility issues with regards to games when it comes to the Exynos variant. So say for example, Into the Dead here, it would not run on the Exynos variant. So again, we have similar issues with Gun Bros 2, just to name a couple of games. So these games play without any issues on the Snapdragon variant. So this is mostly because a lot more phones use the Adreno 330, use Snapdragon when compared to Exynos. So the compatibility issues will get sorted eventually, but as of today, in my honest opinion, if you're in the market looking to pick a Galaxy S5 up, and if you had an option to choose between both the Exynos and the Snapdragon variants, I'd personally recommend you to go with the Snapdragon variant. And I guess Samsung realizes this disparity too. Well, here's the weird part. Here in India, where Samsung sells the non-LTE Exynos variant alone, every single unit that Samsung's provided for in-store demonstration is, well, a Snapdragon variant. And it gets weirder. Some stores even mention 2.5 GHz quad-core Crate 400 on their spec sheet. Honest mistake or conspiracy? You guys let me know in the comments below. Anyway, for those into the routing and modding scene, keep in mind the Exynos variant gets very little development compared to the Snapdragon variant, slower updates and much fewer ROMs. And for those who already do have a variant of the Galaxy S5 and are just watching this video to see how your variant compares to the other, it is inevitable that your variant is not gonna score exactly what mine did in this video. Your score might be a little higher or lower. Don't worry about it, benchmark scores depend on a lot of factors. heat, stress, the number of times it's been run, the number of times the phone's been on, the firmware it's on, and more. So don't really worry about that. And if you do want to pick up a Galaxy S5, you can do that from Amazon or Flipkart. I'll leave direct links right below the like button in the description. And for those of you curious to know where I picked my Snapdragon variant of the Galaxy S5 from, I bought it on eBay India. It was not sealed. It does not have a manufacturer warranty. So check out ebay.in. You could probably pick one up there. Anyway, I guess that's pretty much it for this comparison video. Hope you guys found it useful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up, share it, and do subscribe for future videos. So I guess that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ashia from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.